What is up, you guys? I thought it'd be cool if I made a video of 5 things I liked and 5 things I didn't like about Batman '89 because there were a lot of things that I did like and a lot of things that I didn't like, but these are just the top 5 for both. I've been meaning to make this video for a while. I finally got myself to it, and here we go. I'm just gonna go straight in. So we're gonna start off with 5 things I liked. Number 1. Michael Keaton as Batman. I thought he was a really interesting Batman. The thing that I loved most about him is, yeah, he was a great Batman, but he was also a great Bruce Wayne. He embodied every sort of aspect that you would expect him to sort of capture as Bruce Wayne. He definitely played Batman awesome too. He was really intimidating. He had a really good voice too. I know people like to bash on Christian Bale for having the "I'm Batman," that kind of voice. Which, I didn't mind in Batman Begins, but in The Dark Knight it got pretty bad. But no, his voice was great. He acted like the playboy kind of Bruce Wayne that you would expect. And he was a good Batman too, so really enjoyed him as Batman. So the second thing that I really liked in this movie was how Batman is kind of, well, at least at the beginning, he's kind of it's kind of unclear if he's real. He's kind of like an urban legend. You see the bad guys, the thieves, how they mug the parents with their son, the couple, and they're talking on the rooftop, and they're like, one of the guys, like, he's really scared. He's like, "Do you think he's real?" The other guy's like, Nah, don't worry. You're just paranoid." And he shows up, and that's a really cool scene. Actually, fun fact, I thought that when I first saw this movie back when I was a kid, I thought that the parents were actually Martha and Thomas Wayne, and the kid was Bruce. And I thought it was gonna do that whole thing where they get shot, but no, I kind of like how it starts, with him as Batman, not the whole story, because that came later on in Batman Begins. But no, I really like that aspect of, like, is he real kind of thing. He's kind of an urban legend. I really like that. All right, number 3, the Batmobile. The Batmobile in this movie is pretty iconic. I'm pretty sure it went on the Batman the Animated Series. I could be wrong. It could be slightly different, but they got that same design, pretty much the same. It probably is the same. It's pretty iconic till this day. When people think Batmobile, they think of that one. It's a really great Batmobile. It looks cartoony, but it also looks realistic. It's awesome. All right, number 4, the special effects. Now, from what I know, there's no CGI in this movie. And in my opinion, that's kind of a good thing. Because here's the thing, I don't hate CGI, but it's unneeded sometimes, and it could look really dated after a few years. So I'm glad that they didn't use it, unless they did and I didn't notice, but from what I know, they didn't. Some shots are if you can tell it's like a model. But, for the most part, they're pretty good. Like when Batman's coming from the roof and, he has his cape and it looks like it did in the comics. That was really cool. He's like hanging by a string. That look, or is he? I don't know. I can't quite remember. But, he's coming down, and that was really cool. They easily could have done special effects with that, but they didn't. So thought that was really cool. And the number 5 thing that I really, really love about this movie, I absolutely adore, is Gotham City. This is the best Gotham City of all time. Say what you will. In my personal opinion, the absolute best Gotham City. And the reason being is because it has a cartoony kind of aspect to it. It's very Tim Burton, first of all. It's very, kind of surreal. It's dark. It just has this amazing look to it. And it's like, yeah, that's how it looked in the comics. But not quite. It also has its own kind of spin to it. As I said, it has like a Tim Burton sort of feel to it because it was directed by him. But yeah, honestly, the best Gotham City. I mean, Batman Begins and The Dark Knight, The Dark Knight Rises, you know, the Nolan trilogy. It was pretty good, you know. I'm pretty sure they filmed it in Chicago. But that's Chicago. That's not Gotham City. Gotham City is supposed to be surreal. It's supposed to have a certain feel to it, you know? And I think they absolutely nailed that out of the park. So now, things I did not like. I have my notes here. Alright. The number one thing I did not like about this movie is Batman's character arc. Which was pretty much non-existent. So, you know, Batman, he's doing his thing, he's going out, and he's killing people, which, by the way, we will get to. But, you know, he's doing his thing, and by the end of the movie, he kills the Joker. And, you know, it's a happy ending, but he doesn't really learn anything about himself. There's nothing... I mean, I guess you can argue that, you know... I guess you can argue he learned something if you look deep into it. If you look deep enough. But on the surface, there's no real character arc. You know, he kills Joker and he lives happily ever after with his girlfriend, you know? And I don't know, for me, Batman is always supposed to learn something about himself by the end of the movie. And that was done really well in Batman Begins. Sorry that I'm talking about the Nolan series so much, but you know, I feel like they really nailed that in Batman Begins, and honestly The Dark Knight too. I mean, you know, it's a pretty tragic ending at the end of The Dark Knight. He loses pretty much everything, you know? But yeah, he really doesn't learn anything about himself or the city or anything, you know? He lives happily ever after. So it's a fun superhero movie ending, but you know, it's nothing groundbreaking. Number 2, as I mentioned before, Batman Kills. This is a really big thing, and I never understood as a kid the whole moral code until I started watching the Nolan series. But you know, that's looking back, it's kind of that's a big thing. You know, in the comics, Batman did not kill, but I guess they were trying to give it a darker tone because, you know, people really, they were afraid that Michael Keaton was going to ruin the role because he was like a big comedian and everything. So I guess they really wanted to make him like a big, mean, you know, kind of guy. And it worked at the time. You know, it worked. But it's, you know, it's not true to the comics. It's just kind of, I guess, for the sake of the movie. Not a fan of that. Alright, my number 3 thing that I really didn't like about this movie was Gordon. Okay? Nothing wrong with the acting. I think the actor, who I don't know the name of, I think he did a great job. You know, he took what he was given. He did a fine job, you know? But the thing about Gordon is he's supposed to have this sort of relationship with Bruce Wayne and Batman. And he sort of lacks that. He doesn't have that. You know, I can't think of a scene where they're talking and Gordon looks away and he looks back and Batman's not there. You know, that's needed. That has to be in a Batman movie, in my opinion. You know, that's a big thing. That's huge in the comics, huge in pretty much any animated Batman movie you watch, and any other Batman movie. So that to me, and it's not just that, it's just the Gordon character as he is. You know, he's not, drop my cards again, he's being portrayed better, let's just say that. Not horrible, but not great, okay? Now, another thing, the story, this is number 4, the story of Joker. That's something I really didn't like, and a lot of people, I think, agree with me on that one. It was, you know, it was what it was. I personally prefer not to know what happened to the Joker. I like it being a mystery. It was, you know, they got it right in The Dark Knight. But I don't like the story of, I don't know, he's just, the story of him, I never liked the story of, like, Batman creating the Joker, you know. I always kind of, they just met together. So for me, yeah, I don't like how you know so much about the Joker. You know more about the Joker than you do about Batman in this movie. And that just he loses his intimidation. He's not as scary. He's not as, you know, he's not as great in my opinion. If the Joker's not great when you have a backstory and it's like, unless you do it like the Killing Joke, where they sort of make it unclear, like you know. Also in The Dark Knight, he tells a story about his father, and then you learn that that's not the truth, because then he makes an alternate story about how he got his scars. And I thought that was so cool, and that's what you need with the Joker. You need a certain amount of mystery. You know, I think that's important, and it lacked that. So that's kind of what I don't like. Also, a lot of people complained that he killed Bruce's parents because it wasn't true to the comics, which, yeah, true, but I can sort of see where they're coming with that. I think that kind of was important, because it just added on another layer to the relationship of Batman and the Joker. You know, without that, there's not much to work with. So at least they had that extra layer. You know, it's like Batman created the Joker, you know, but also, if you go back, the Joker kind of created Batman in a way by killing his parents. So I think that worked for what it was. So now, we're getting on to number 5. This is the big one. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me on this. But my number 5 least favorite thing I liked about Batman 89 was Jack Nicholson as the Joker. Now hear me out, okay? In my opinion, the Joker is supposed to be about the same age as Batman. Now, Jack Nicholson was well in his 50s during the movie, if not in his 60s. I forgot to look up when he was born before the video, but he was old. I remember researching it a while ago, and I learned that he was well in his 50s, probably even 60. And to me, you know, it shows. He doesn't look like a young man that can hold up against Batman. He kind of looks like an old guy, you know, which is fine, because Jack Nicholson's the GOAT, you know. I love Jack Nicholson. He's great. If they had done this 10, 15 years prior, I think he would have been an incredible Joker. I think it would have worked. But I just think he was too old. He didn't have that, you know, Joker's supposed to be, in my opinion, 10 years older than Batman at most, you know. But he's supposed to be around the same age. He's supposed to be agile. He's supposed to be, you know, again, hate to bring up the Nolan series again, you know. Sorry, not sorry, but that was perfect. In fact, I think Heath Ledger was even younger than Christian Bale. So, you know, that worked, and he really put up a fight against Batman. So I think that worked, and I think if they had gotten a younger actor, perhaps Willem Dafoe, apparently they were going to choose him. He's, I think, 10, 15 years younger than Nicholson. I think that could have worked. I think that would have been really cool. I know a lot of people want to see Willem Dafoe. You know, now the same problem would be with him if he would play the Joker now. He's kind of too old, you know? So, you know, kind of a missed opportunity. I think Dafoe would have been great. It is what it is. Nicholson, his performance was pretty good. You know, I think he looked, he was just too old to play the Joker. Another thing about Nicholson's Joker I didn't like was the costume. And also the face design. I always thought it looked kind of weird. He's like, I don't know. I'm not going to do the face now, but I could never get behind that look. Like, how did his face melt to that perfectly? You know, I wish he had, like, I don't even know, maybe, like, not scars, but, you know, something resembling a smile, sort of. Not just, like, his face, like, shrivels up into a smile, but for the most part, it worked. You know, it was what it is. It is what it is. In conclusion, you know, good movie. I could go back and watch it and enjoy it. It's flawed, of course, but it has a lot of good elements to it, like the city. You know, Batman was great. Nicholson, his performance was great too, you know. Just a few things I didn't like about him. But, yeah, guys, that's going to be it. If you like this video, please subscribe. Leave me a thumbs up down below. I'd really appreciate that. And I'll see you guys next time.